Hi friends, welcome back, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Joyce and today I am sharing my winter TBR with you guys and also my reading goals for 2024. I have set a reading goal of 52 books. That is a book a week. That should be pretty attainable because clearly I was able to read 78 books in 2023. And the crazy thing is I didn't even start reading to the capacity that I was reading until April. So the very first book is actually on my Kindle. So most of the books here, they're on my physical TBR, they're on my Kindle, which this is actually an iPad and I just have the Kindle app. So our very first one, When It Falls Apart, absolutely love the cover of this. It's so beautiful. It's definitely giving Italy, which I believe that's where it takes place. Maybe it's not giving Italy, maybe it's giving San Diego. I'm not really sure. All I know is that our female main character has a very challenging relationship with her father. Her father gets sick and she just feels like, even though our relationship isn't the best, he's still my dad. I'm still going to go and take care of him. So that is exactly what she does. And then we have our male main character who is a single dad, which I love to see it in stories. And he's not happy that the female character is renting out the apartment above his mom. Maybe he falls in love with her, she falls in love with him. I'm not sure. We haven't read it yet, but I love that it says this is a bittersweet romance about the power of love in the face of heartbreak and loss. Sign me up. I'm excited for it. All right, this next book. I think I am the most excited about this book. I'm excited about all of them, but this is one of the books that I bought myself for Christmas and it just didn't get here in time. I am going to be reading this book within the first week of January. I like to read nonfiction books a little bit slower because there's a lot of information being thrown at you. I'm trying to learn something. I'm trying to apply what I've learned. So I don't rush them. I usually give myself anywhere from 5 to 7 days to read them so that I can take notes, apply what I've learned, etc., etc. So this one is Get Good with Money and it is by Tiffany the Budgetnista. I'm so excited. In this book, she's giving 10 simple steps to become financially whole. I love this. I absolutely love this. Get Good with Money gets crystal clear on the short-term actions that lead to long-term goals. Sign me up. I'm here for it. I'm reading it. I'm going to apply the tips and then my bag is just going to be growing, Who doesn't want to learn more about financial freedom and how to invest? These principles have now helped more than 1 million women save and pay off millions in debt and begin planning for a richer life. It's the type of book I want to read. And if you are a woman and you want to know a little bit more about money, this would be a good book for you to read as well. The next one on the list, it is A Heart That Works and it is by Rob Delaney. Now, I'm not very familiar with this author, but the story just seems so moving and captivating. He actually loses his son. Basically, the book is going to navigate grief and explore questions that loved ones have once we lose someone. There's so many questions that you're left grappling with, and I love to see it addressed in a book. It helps me to navigate grief. And grief doesn't just come from when you lose a person. It also comes from the loss of a job, the loss of a relationship, the loss of an idea of a person or a child or yourself. Grief just comes in so many different forms. So I do appreciate when I read a book that gives me insight and resources on how to better deal with grief. And although I think it is going to be a very emotional story, I think it's going to be very beautiful, very profound, and more than anything, I think it's going to be extremely healing. So the next book on the list is In the Dark by Lorth Ann White. It says the promise of a luxury vacation at a secluded wilderness spa has brought together 8 lucky guests, but nothing is what they were led to believe. As a fierce storm barrels down and all contact with the outside is cut off, the guests fear that it's not a getaway. It's a trap. You think I'm not about to read this book? Ooh, this next one is titled Memphis. It is not a newly released book, but it is a debut novel. I will be listening to the audio copy of this book. I got it on sale. It is in the genre of historical fiction. And I think I like historical fiction more than I like literary fiction, I realize. My top genre is contemporary. Then I think it has to be historical fiction. I think it's kind of my jam from the books that I like, the books that I've loved, and the books that I gravitate towards. But this book caught my eye because I think it's going to be breaking down generational curses, and love it when that pops up in a book. We have a 10-year-old girl who has the power to change the legacy of her family. I love that it's going to span over 3 generations. That's a lot to cover. So that means we are going to get a look at faith and betrayal and love and sacrifice and ultimately forgiveness. So this next one on the list is not a new release either, and it is titled One of the Good Ones. I will also be listening to the audiobook of this one. I think I got this on sale for like $3.99, and I'm excited to get to it because it's described as The Hate You Give and Get Out. Kind of weird combination. I'm glad that I am stumbling across these oldies, so maybe they've been talked about for a long time. I haven't been reading to this magnitude, so there's so many books that I want to either catch up on that are old or that are new or that are popular or that aren't popular. I just have a lot to read, and this is one of the books that just sounded very interesting to me because we are going to follow three sisters, and one of the sisters, she dies. The other two sisters are left grappling with a lot of questions. The major question is, isn't being human enough? So I guess the sister that dies, she was just like painted to be this perfect person. It just kind of makes you feel bad because it's like, wow, if you weren't these things, then does your life not mean anything? So I don't know why, but that kind of interests me that we are going to explore that, because you do see that a lot. Even if something bad happens to like a woman on the news, the first thing that people say is, oh, she's so pretty. If she was ugly, I mean, would we not be sad that she went through this tragedy or that she took her life or whatever, you know? So I am very interested to see that explored in a book, and I am glad that I found one. So this next book I already have on Audible as well, and it is Be Not Afraid to Love. I do appreciate, and I would rather listen to a memoir in that particular author's voice. It just magnifies the experience for me, and I absolutely love it. I'm not familiar with this author either, but the story just sounds so powerful. It's basically a collection of essays and affirmations following our author as she relearns to love. She was in a very violent relationship, and when you go through that type of tragedy, it is very hard for you to love other people, to trust other people, to have hope, and just all these things that being in a violent relationship can steal from you. There's something I'm going to learn. There's something I'm going to pull from this story, and although I may not have been in a violent relationship, I have been in other scenarios that have caused me not to want to love or not to want to trust, or that cause you to want to lose hope. And so I'm just happy to read a book like this that will help restore some of that loss that all of us might have experienced at some point in our life. Okay, so this next one has been on my TBR for a while, and I do want to start a new series in 2024 where I basically am taking down my TBR, or I don't know, I have to think of something to call it. And what better way to get me excited about that than to start a series and bring you guys along for the journey. So this book is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, and I've heard nothing but good things about this particular book, and I like how she's described. It says that she struggles with appropriate social skills and tends to say exactly what she's thinking. So I don't know, I think she's going to be a fun character. I think she's going to be a character that leaves a lasting impact. It's just time for me to go ahead and see all the goodness that this book has to offer me. Okay, so our next book, number 9, is Dear Edward, and it is by Ann Napolitano. I loved Hello Beautiful, I really did, and I miss her writing style. I miss those characters. They have left a lasting impact on me, and I just want to read another book by her. I want to see if she could possibly be a new favorite author for me, and the only way to do that is to read another one of her books. Okay, so this next book on the list is by one of my favorite thriller authors, and it is Frida McFadden. I think I bought this book back in the summer or back in the beginning of fall. I'm not even sure. I almost forgot that I had it because I've been reading other books, and I was like, you know what? I miss Frida. I want to read a book by her, and it was between this or The Inmate, and I really want to get to this because this is her newest released book. The Coworker is a tense, unputdownable thriller that explores the dark ways the past can echo through the present with a deadly consequence. That's enough information for me. You kind of want to go into a suspense thriller as blindly as you can, and so that's what I want to do. It's time to get this one up off my TBR. Okay, and so this next one, I think it's going to be very cute, which is crazy because it's labeled as an emotional romance. This falls under the category of contemporary romance, and our main character basically loses her husband. But the reason I think it's going to be kind of cute or hopeful and a little bit funny is because it seems like she ends up up in a love triangle after being widowed and single for 5 years. I'm pretty sure she thought she would never love again, and then you don't just fall for one guy, you fall for two. Or maybe she only loves one and just doesn't want to hurt the other one's feeling. I don't know. Like I said, I don't read too much into the books. I read enough and see if it intrigues me, and then I go on the journey. I enjoy the experience, and then we just find out, and I'll talk about it with you guys. Oh, this next one I'm really excited for. So I do want the physical copy of this book. I don't have it yet, and it is The Queen's Gambit. This is already on Netflix, I believe, and I want to watch the show so bad. I think I'm gonna watch episode 1 just to see, get me in the mood, see if I'm gonna like it. But I really want to read the book. Like the show, the preview for the show, it looks so good. We basically have an orphan who ends up learning how to play chess. She goes on to be extremely good at it, to the point where she goes on to compete in a championship. So I'm just excited. It seems like it's going to be an underdog story. I love a good underdog story, and it is described as gripping, fast-paced, and engaging, and it's coming of age. It sounds like the makings of a book that I am going to really enjoy, and I just absolutely love that there's already a show out for it. Okay, so the next book on our list is Good Girl, Bad Blood. It is part 2 to the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. It is time for me to read about Pip again. I miss her. I didn't think that I was going to read the second one. They said the second one isn't as good, and I believe people. It probably isn't, but she basically starts a podcast in this one. She's no longer wearing her detective hat. That is until someone goes missing and she doesn't feel like the police is doing enough, which is usually her problem. She just wants to take matters into her own hands, which I love about her, which is also scary. I would never want my daughter to be that brave and put herself in this kind of danger, but for a fictional character, you absolutely love to see it. This next one, you guys, I need to read this one in like January or February. I heard it's going to be heavy, and it is My Dark Vanessa. Let me know if I need the paperback as well. I do have this one on Audible, and this book is basically alternating timelines between past and present. We have a girl who falls in love with her teacher, and they become entangled in an affair, and at some point he is accused of sexual assault by someone else. And then that leads Vanessa to grapple with the thoughts of, am I in this relationship willingly? Oh, this the one right here. I'm guessing that this is going to be somewhere between 4 and 5 stars. It's giving heavy. It's giving thought-provoking. It's giving audacity of a writer at an all-time high. It's just giving the things that you want to see in a book like this. I think it's going to be very hard to read. I feel like I'm going to come away from reading this book completely just like changed. I don't know why. I just feel like it's about to be really intense. So I can't wait to get into it. Ooh, the next one on the list is Evil Eye, and this particular book is historical fiction. It says it's about motherhood and generational trauma. It follows a Palestinian American woman raised in an emotional, volatile family. She grows up and she starts to create and have a life that she's always wanted, but for some reason she doesn't quite feel fulfilled. So she sets out on a quest to unpack the difficulties of her childhood that she thought she left behind. I think it's going to be another 5-star, somewhere between a 4 and a 5-star, only because this happens a lot where we've gone through stuff in our childhood. We thought it was fine. This is just how it's supposed to be. And then you grow up and you realize like, it was a little traumatizing. Like some of those things weren't supposed to happen or whatever, you know, you just learn so much about your childhood and how it has shaped you into who you are today. And it's just so interesting when I see other people realize that and then navigate that journey. I think I'm about to eat this one up. I really, really do. And I'm excited to get to it. Oh, the next one on the list. Look at me. I'm just excited about all these books, which you should be. You should be excited about the books that you want to read. It's like, don't just read what you see like other people reading or what's popular. Be honest about what it is that you enjoy. Like I said, I like historical fiction. A lot of people don't. That's fine. And I'm gonna read what I like. If you like romance, read the romance, girl. Okay, so the next one is How to Walk Away. Oh, first of all, it's by Catherine Center. I've only read one book by her and I really enjoyed it. I liked the writing style. So basically in this book, our main character, she goes from having the best day of her life to having the worst day of her life. I really enjoyed Things We Save in a Fire, and I'm just excited to see what she's gonna do with this one. This is not her newest release book. I think she's released a few books since then. It's fine. It sounds interesting to me, so I'm gonna read it. This next one I also have in audio form. Bought it on Audible on sale sale as well. I think this was even cheaper, probably like $2.99, $3.99, and it is The Better Half. So this one is going to follow our main character after she is freshly divorced and without the kids at the moment. I think they're in boarding school or something like that. I can't remember, but she's getting ready to enjoy her life. It's about to be the better half. So I love that for her. This, I feel like I'm gonna be so sane, even though I'm still clearly married and my kids are definitely still at home. So she goes on like a girls trip with one of her really good friends. I love it when a girls trip appears in a book. I love going on girls trips. I go with two of my other friends. We go 3 times a year. So girls trips are definitely my jam. I think this one is just going to be fun and funny and probably super relatable for a lot of people. Ooh. So this next one is All the Lonely People. And I looked this book up and I was like, this sounds like something I want to read. Don't know why, because it doesn't sound very exciting. Basically, he has painted a picture of his life that does not exist. And something happens. He doesn't have a choice but to make it a reality. I think I like it because I love it when people finally decide to live their life. I don't know what he's gone through to make him isolate in this way, but I'm just happy that he's gonna have no choice but to get his butt out of isolation and start living. So this next one, I'm probably gonna need a box of Kleenex, and it is The Bell Jar. I heard that this is an American classic, and so I really do want to hear it. I heard it's a very good story. Basically, our main character has a mental breakdown, and our author gives us a deep look into the psyche. I love learning about our brains and how our brains work and why we are the way that we are, why we make the choices and decisions that we make. So hopefully this tackles some of that. I'm not really sure. I just know that people said it's a great story, it's a classic, and it is kind of sad. So this next one I'm really excited to finally get to, and it is How to Stay Married. It tackles infidelity, but it's the wife who did the cheating. And a lot of times we don't get to see that displayed in books and in movies, and I absolutely love it when we do, because there are a lot of women who do cheat. They are the ones who cheat, and then it is the guy that has to work through forgiveness and hope and all of that. And what I love about this book is that he does it in a very humorous way. So I do like that it won't be so heavy. It's going to be a lot more funny and a lot more lighthearted. So yeah, I just think it's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be funny, but then also pretty sad. I'm sure it's going to be relatable for a lot of people, and I just can't wait to get to it. Oh, the next book that we have is The Rosie Project. This has been on my shelf way too long. It is time for me to read this book and enjoy it. It says that it's laugh out loud funny. I'm really hoping that it is. It says that it's filled with humor and plenty of heart. Who doesn't want to read a book like that? So basically, our main character, he wants to find love. So he creates a list and he sets out to find the perfect partner. And when he finds somebody, he realizes that love isn't always what looks good on paper. Oh, I think it's going to be so heartwarming. This next one is on my Kindle, and it is a dark romance. I tried horror and fantasy in 2023, and in 2024, I would love to try dark romance. And I also want to try science fiction. This one is titled Sweet Sin. Let me show you guys the cover because she is cute. Isn't it? It's adorable, right? It says Sweet Sin is a prequel intended to be read before Promises and Pomegranates. So if I like this, then I will go ahead and then I will read the main book. But we have some serious forbidden love going on here. Sounds like the guy might have the hots for his boss's daughter, which is always a no-no. And then it sounds like the girl, shoot, she might be engaged. I'm not sure. It's like some drama going on. Yeah, I think it's gonna be juicy because it says that she wants a night of freedom before she becomes someone else's forever. Sound messy to me. Oh, speaking of messy, our next book is The Messy Lives of Book People, and it is by Phaedra Patrick. First of all, you can't not love the cover. I'm very new to this author, so I'm very excited about that. And basically, we have a mom. I love it when moms are in stories. Our main character, she is a housekeeper. She's a housekeeper for a well-known author, and our author, she dies, and so her last final wish before she dies is for our main character Liv to finish her final book. Stop playing with me. Oh my God. It sounds like it's giving Underdog. It just feels like it's going to be a very fun and relatable book. Okay, and our last book on the list is Chain Gang All-Star, and it basically says it's the return of the gladiators. Prisoners are competing for the ultimate prize, their freedom. A lot of people related to The Hunger Games. I just saw that movie and I actually really enjoyed it, so much so that I want to read the books. I think they're going to be so good and just give so much more detail, but I'm just like, since I'm already watching the shows, should I go back and read the books? You guys let me know. If you've watched the adaptation, do you go back and read the books, or is it just like gone, like the mood is just over? But anyway, I'm really excited to get to this one. A lot of booktubers had it on their best of 2023 list, so that has me so excited for the book. When I mentioned that I wanted to read it, a few of my subscribers were like, girl, bump that up the list. That is a good book. So I did get it from the library, but I had to take it back, so I didn't get to enjoy it. I might just go ahead and buy it, or I'll check it out again, or maybe I should try the audio version. A couple people said that the audio version was very fun, so I'm an audiobook girl and I absolutely love that for me. But that is it. Those are the 24 recommendations for you for 2024. If you want to see the other books on my TBR as well, I shared them in my Christmas book haul, which I will link for you guys, but we have a lot of reading to do. So I hope that you guys have the most amazing new year. I'm so excited to continue on this journey with you all. Please share a book that you guys are looking forward to reading in 2024, or let me know if you have any of the books that I plan on reading in 2024 on your list, and I will see you guys in the new year. Bye. Oh, not my leg falling asleep. Oh yes, this next one is